The FBI's perfect trap. Welcome to NeuroNexus Earth. Imagine a social network designed exclusively for criminals. A place where drug lords, hitmen, and gun runners could plan their next move on a totally secure encrypted platform, safe from the eyes of the law. Now, imagine if the FBI built that platform, read every single message, and watched them do it. This isn't a Hollywood script. This is the story of ANOM, arguably the most brilliant and audacious sting operation in the history of law enforcement. For decades, law enforcement has faced a massive problem called going dark. Criminals have increasingly used commercially available encrypted apps to communicate, making their networks nearly impossible to infiltrate. Wiretaps became obsolete. If you can't read their messages, you're always one step behind. The FBI needed to change the game. Instead of trying to break the criminals' encryption, they decided to become the encryption. The opportunity arrived in 2018. The FBI shut down a Canadian company called Phantom Secure, which sold modified, super-secure BlackBerry phones to criminals. This created a huge gap in the underworld market. At the same time, an informant who had been developing his own next-gen encrypted device came to the FBI with a proposal. He offered them the keys to his kingdom, and together they would build the ultimate trap, a communications platform named ANOM. The plan was genius in its simplicity. They would create special mobile phones, basically stripped-down Android devices that could do only one thing: send and receive messages through the ANOM app. These phones were marketed as ultra-secure, but there was a catch. Every single message sent on an ANOM device was secretly copied to a server controlled by the FBI. Law enforcement had a master key that unlocked every single private conversation. But how do you get thousands of savvy criminals to use a device built by the feds? You don't sell it to them. You make it exclusive. The FBI and their partners, primarily the Australian Federal Police, began distributing the ANOM phones through trusted underworld figures. To get a device, you had to be vouched for by an existing high-level criminal user. This exclusivity made it a status symbol. Criminals felt safe because their own bosses were recommending it. They were literally paying to be spied on. For 3 years, the trap worked perfectly. The FBI watched in real time as over 300 different criminal syndicates operating in more than 100 countries used ANOM to orchestrate their operations. They had over 12,000 devices in the field, capturing 27 million messages. They read everything: plots to distribute tons of cocaine, plans for public assassinations, and massive money laundering schemes. It was the largest and most detailed intelligence trove law enforcement had ever collected on organized crime. Then, on June 7, 2021, the trap was sprung. In a coordinated global takedown known as Operation Trojan Shield or Operation Ironside in Australia, law enforcement agencies across the world moved in. The results were staggering. Over 800 arrests were made. Authorities seized more than 38 tons of drugs, including cocaine, methamphetamine, and cannabis. They confiscated 250 firearms and 55 luxury vehicles and over $48 million in various currencies and cryptocurrencies. The ANOM operation was a paradigm shift. It showed that in the digital age, the most effective weapon against crime might not be a battering ram, but a line of code. The FBI didn't just listen in on the criminals, they built the very room where the criminals felt safe enough to speak freely. It was a stunning checkmate in the ongoing chess game between crime and law enforcement. The operation sent a shockwave through the global underworld, shattering the trust they placed in their digital tools. It leaves us with a fascinating question. In a world of ever-advancing technology, what will the next great trap look like? Thank you for joining us on NeuroNexus Earth.